Alright, well, before we talk about DanVr, I want you to understand the kind of content I'm dealing with here. This is a man who makes me sit through boring footage with basically no editing. We usually just chime or, I guess, ganking, with zero editing outside maybe like one image popping up, just like straight up popping up with no editing. And then reuses the same 3 thumbnails like they're collector's items, but we'll set that aside for now. Let's get to the real issue. Dan made a video on my video, which is the 3rd time he's done this, and he still refuses to use my name. He still refuses to link my original video. He still refuses to even change the background. Like, come on, if you're gonna make a reaction video, at least credit me. Come on, that's like the bare minimum. Anyways, okay, let me back down. He said I was mischaracterizing him, but the thing is, I really didn't. But let's start with the recent video before we get into that. RuneSlayer. He says the game shut down because of haha type soul good I copy.
You like play it out for a couple months, right? And then instead of just add new content as you go, you close the game, talk about revamping it, and oh, it's gonna be Type Soul 2.0. In this case, RuneSlayer 2.0. You re-release it to build hype, you continue the cycle.
When in reality, we all know that it was taken down because of the excess of hackers, or at least what we were told. That wasn't hidden info. It took like 5 seconds to find that out. Like, seriously, 5 seconds. And then like shortly after, he then gets this part. He says slurs are bad, which, yeah, okay, obviously.
Starting with the developers, one of them got, I guess, exposed saying slurs like the hard R. Look, to be genuinely honest, you shouldn't say those kind of things.
But then he drops the R word on deep woken PvE players.
The next thing he brings up is PvE. Oh my god, when I hear you guys in the community talk about PvE, it's like the great fallacy, right? You're Schrodinger's
He literally used it to describe anyone who wants more content for PvE side of the game like this. Like, come on. You cannot pretend to take the moral high ground and then just casually throw that out there, like less than 4 videos or 12 days ago. Like, come on, that's ridiculous.
Everybody talks about PvE like it's gonna save the game. We need more bosses. Well, you got bosses with world events, and you don't play it.
First of all, this chart is outdated. It doesn't even go up to December, which it came out on December 24th, 2024, world event, so, okay, this chart's worthless, which is the month world events came out, December, and then like pretty much early 2025. So yeah, and the reason world events don't get played is they're not really structured like real world events, as I said in my video. They're just structured as a kind of like a one and done. They're not fun. They don't really teleport you to like a big hub with a bunch of players. They're just boring. And don't even start on Carnival. Carnival might as well not even be a world event. Like, no one joins it. So even when you join it by yourself, you get no loot. And when world events first came out, you couldn't even shoot cannons at the thing until, well, way later. And it's just like, come on, my Deep Woken review, which you watched, I said that in. And you agreed with me in.
Day 1, because of 4 times chest and nothing's rare anymore, so that kind of a bit, but yeah, nobody does world events now. It's like actually pretty hard to find people that are like fighting it and not just ganking the people trying to fight it. Valid criticism.
Except the Doom of Catharlis, giant, the world server. Yeah, that boss sucks. That boss
Just log as soon as you loot because it turns into a giant gank.
This is horribly designed. Probably the worst designed boss.
This guy's actually spitting now. We hit the up track.
That fight.
This guy, he's right.
Bosses that you can't use cannons.
Why make C-boss that you can't use cannons? Get him on the dev team, because I'm asking this.
Pretty much the same buggy as and create a character, the literal rain particles were falling through the wall and the roof. Don't think that was required or intentional. It's just like, what are we doing, bro? What are we doing? There are better things to do. There are better things to talk about, like Deep Woken. Just go back to playing Deep Woken, guys.
And if that was true, you wouldn't be on RuneSlayer for just to say drama and just run around in circles. Secondly, Deep Woken's character creator was busted for who knows how long. You're like super far away, you could barely see your character. It was super dark, you barely. It was like just a little rain for RuneSlayer's thing. It's not a big bug. I mean, Deep Woken's character creator was bugged for who knows how long, and I could barely even see my character sometimes. Like, come on, man, that's just like hating to hate. It's not even like real hate. It's just like low level nitpick. Because the character creator having rain in it's such a nothing burger. I don't know.
He insinuates that there's some grand conspiracy, right? That he is one of the founding fathers, a pillar of free speech. Do you know who you're talking to?
I led a second American Revolution on this game. Pretty much George Washington on this.
I mean, I'm gonna be fair. Eclipse is more like George Washington than you were. He kind of, you know, he's the kind of the reason you're allowed to just like flounder and chime all day because you don't have to worry about like chime skulls, and you kind of use chime slop footage a lot. So it's like you should be thanking him. He's more of George Washington. Also, the whole free speech thing isn't not necessarily like, no, I'm the only one that says free speech. The whole free speech thing is mostly like, are content creators being held for like their private servers or their bans or their accounts? It's more of like suppression of speech before it gets said. Like, if you say something, it's gonna get taken away. It's not like I'm trying to say that I'm like the revolutionary, like you're trying to say or whatever, which is really dramatic, seems unnecessary. I'm just trying to say that, you know, some people, you know, a lot of devs, a lot of like trying to take stuff away if they say anything bad, stuff like that. I don't mean like I'm a revolutionary or whatever you say.
Or layer 3 will save. Raise your hand. Who here wants layer 3? Yes.
I mean, I never brought up layer 3, but I get what he's trying to say. I mean, layer 2 is not very replayable, as you kind of only go down there for like Tears Winter or Dawnwalker, but you're still going down there for PvE builds. It's not useless, but it's not replayable. You do it once and you're done, but whatever. Also, you're acting like you wouldn't play layer 3 if it dropped right now? Like, come on. You don't gotta be like that.
Nobody plays layer 2 for the PvE. It's boring. It was always about the rewards. It was always about getting knowledge. That's why you did layer 2. You got knowledge to make a new build. But then when Moon's Eyes became readily available, nobody plays layer 2.
I mean, Moon's Eyes are only readily available if you have like Dawnwalker and a super awesome PvE build, which means you're gonna have to go down to get Dawnwalker, and I guess knowledge too if that helps. I mean, so clearly it's not useless. You still needed to get Moon's Eyes.
Right, everybody's gonna talk about a new layer will save the game. Ask your mates right now. Hey, you wanna go do an Etheron run with me? No one's doing it, bro!
This is the main reason I didn't bring up layers, because yes, people aren't doing it, but it's not because they don't want to do layer 2. It's just there's no reason to be down there after you get whatever you're going down there for one time. So it's not their fault. If layer 3 comes out the exact same way, it's going to be the exact same, where you just go down once and then you're done. So, you know, replayability is more important. It's not like, I don't think that's a hot take. It shouldn't be. I don't really think it should be. But yeah, if layer 3 is just like layer 2, yeah, the game's gonna be back in the same state it was in like a month. Which he even agrees with, but I don't know if he ever made it that far in the video.
And then after a week, you're bored of it because it's super linear. This is Roblox after all. PvE, PvP. Look, this is a bygone era. The game you're talking about, a roguelike, MMO, that game is dead, and it's been dead for a long time. It's why they removed the little to no handholding on the hardcore description from the game. This is a build-making simulator. You make a ton of builds, and then you go and fight people, or you go and fight bosses. And then you make a new build, and you redo that same content, because in your mind, this new build is just incrementally better, so it's a different gameplay experience. Deepwoken is incredibly replayable right now, this moment. It just lacks novelty. You can replay this game over and over and over and make probably an unlimited amount of builds. But there's just not a lot of novelty. There's not a lot of new things to go do with the builds. And I promise you,
I'm gonna start off with him saying this game is very clearly a build-making simulator, even though this game's description mostly reads like an MMO or an RPG. I mean, look at, here's the Old Republic's description. It's actually very similar to Deepwoken's, and that's because this game was originally a RPG. It was even a roguelike/roguelite, but they kind of gave that up immediately, pretty much. And I don't think most players joined the game thinking that the PvP was good. They were just like, oh, Deepwoken's a hard game. That's kind of fun, and I can make whatever I want in it. Sounds like an MMO. Kind of sounds like some fun. I mean, I don't think anyone's like, man, I heard the PvP in Deepwoken was so good, because at least I didn't top on Deep that had PvP. I'm like, okay, it has PvP, but the lore is cool. The world is cool, but they kind of forgot mostly about most of that stuff, to be fair. It's not your fault, Dan. That's theirs. Funny part is he actually agrees with me, but anyways. Then he says Deepwoken's already replayable because it's a build-making game. Every run is different, which sounds good on paper until you play the game for more than like 20 minutes. Yeah, sure, the build might be different, but what are you actually doing to prog it? Probably the exact same thing every single time. Your different run starts the same, still follows the same loop, and still ends up grinding the same mobs. Origins, they don't really change much, except for maybe like Deepbound. Everything else might as well just mostly be cosmetic after like Power 3. So yeah, you can make a better builds, but what are you using it on? Deepwoken doesn't like novelty. It lacks things to test your thing on, which I said, and you agreed, but you didn't even make it that far in the video. You handed all these tools and have nowhere meaningful to use them. All these legendary weapons, all these stuff, they would be fine if you just had something to use them on that was replayable. It's like building a race car just to drive it around an empty parking lot.
And then they add some Steam Path, 2 talents, like abysmal, and the player count spikes massively, and a new bell spikes massively. That is what you want.
I hate to break it to you, Dan. Updates on any game ever will make a game spike, but the reason they don't spike for very long, they only spike for like a couple hours, is because there's just nothing. People want content, so any bit of content they're going to eat up. Especially DanVr players, they're starving. I mean, I think you figured it out, at least I hope, but DanVr players are starving for any content right now, so anything that drops, even if it's garbage, they're at least going to check it out for like a couple hours, and then it's going to go right back to low numbers like it's been, like every update. That's like you waking up in the morning and then purposely not feeding yourself even though you're starving. No one's gonna do that. If you're starving, anything's gonna work. And afterwards, you're gonna regret it if it was bad. You're not gonna be like, well, that was good even if it was garbage. No, you're gonna say it's bad and then move on. You're just no longer starving until the next time you're starving. Anyways, let's see what the next thing Dan says that he thinks will save the game. His so-called build variety.
Add more bosses. We got world events. We got 3 bosses and people didn't care. Add another dungeon. I promise you're gonna get bored of the dungeon. What we need is another dimension to build making. And what is that? Naturally, at this point, that is Bell Evolution. Bell Evolution. Oath Evolution. It would fundamentally change the game. Every build that you've made in the past, you can now remake in different ways because of the Bell Evolution or the Oath Evolution.
And okay, so he says he wants a new layer to build making. Cool, right? But the way he describes it is just straight up power creep. Like, the game already doesn't have enough of that with things like Shrine of Order, Shrine of Blasphemy, and all the other shrines that are just floating around. We already have Bell side grades with the corrupted variants with a negative and positive, so I'm gonna assume he means straight up upgrades. He calls it evolution, but from what I can see, he's really asking for raw upgrades, no trade-offs, just more power. Unironically, he was trashing on Runeslayer, but even that game has more thoughtful build depth with side grades like race variants. Like, the Golem has Siege Body, Assault Body, Crystal Body, all with their pluses and negatives. That's actual choice. Even if you and someone have the same race builds, your variant makes a difference. It could be different. Maybe you picked the defensive, maybe you picked the aggressive, maybe you picked something. That's the point. It creates variation without making something just flat out stronger. Meanwhile, in Deepwoken, the only real side gates you get are your path and corrupting your bell. That's it. Everything else is linear power stacking disguised as build variety. Now, maybe, I really hope this is the case, he was trying to describe side grades. If so, fine. But the way he explained it sounded like just more power creep in a game that is already overflowing with power creep. And let's say his so-called evolution system did get added. Guess what happens? That evolution just becomes a new baseline. It's no longer an evolution, it's just the standard. It's like comparing someone who just got their oath to someone who's fully maxed it out. The gap becomes ridiculous. You're not adding depth, you're stretching out the power ceiling further and calling it variety. It's not meaningful progression, it's inflation. That's not a new layer to build making, it's a taller stack of numbers. It's completely linear. Alright, now that we got that out the way and all of his random nonsensical criticism or ideas, let's talk about what you came for. Did I mischaracterize DanVr? And no, I didn't. He's not even really a hater. And how can I prove it? Well, let's look at one of his more recent videos and, well, let's just see. And I want to remind you, this is just a newer one. He does this in almost like 95% of his videos. So, take everything I say and go look back or watch a new one and you might see exactly what I'm saying and you're about to see.
Yo, chat, it is DanVr. And if you've been playing the game, you would know that ganking is really the only thing left to do on Deepwoken. As we enter this lull in content, this third Dark Ages, ganking and PvP is really all you've got. And for the most part, it's pretty miserable. I've talked to a lot of individuals who say that ganking is terrible and I feel miserable. Largely, I actually think ganking isn't in the worst state it has ever been. It's pretty miserable. It's just that people have sort of refused to adapt. The concept that you need a specific build for ganking, at least in the grand scheme of things with Deepwoken, is a relatively new idea. You've only really seen that in the last year, where people have a build just for ganking, and then they have a build just for 1v1s, and then they have, you know, a PvE build, but it's only for Hell Mode, and then another PvE build that's only for Diluvian. You see a whole bunch of people now running specialized builds. So yeah, if you go into an overworld gank, and you don't have an AoE build, or you don't have somebody capable of mobility and burst damage, like a Silent Heart or Jet Striker Heavy, yeah, you're gonna have a terrible time. That's kind of just how the game is. And you and I can sit here and all we want, but that's just the way the game has gone. Time for hating. A lot of the builds, they just feel identical. Largely in the last year, or this has been a sort of effect I've noticed since Verse 2, but the uniqueness of the game is all sort of blurred together now, where nothing really feels all that special. And I don't mean that in terms of rareness or novelty. I genuinely mean that everybody feels like they're doing the same exact thing. You remember way over yonder, back in my day, when they said that Gale was the combo attunement. If you wanted to hit cool, crazy combos, you'd use Gale. Now everybody can do a 100 true combo. That's like not even Gale's thing. Who even uses Gale? You're actually selling if you show up to the gank and you're a Gale user. Largely, man, I think that the game is in a better state than it was. It's pretty miserable. Like I said, even a month ago. And ganking actually is a lot of fun right now. It's pretty miserable. If you turn your brain off, like if you turn your brain off and you give in to like just the mental, I won't say that word, I'm trying to be better. Give in to the mental slowing down of intellectual capacities. It's a lot of fun, right? Just it's pretty miserable. Turn your brain off, play like a moron. Oh yeah, it's perfect, right? This footage, I had a lot of fun just running in circles. Legit just spamming Electric Carve and Emotion Wave over and over and over. That's pretty much all I did. That was incredibly fun. It's pretty miserable. I will say though, if I catch you on a flame build, bro, I'm gonna kill you. People, please stop making flame builds. They're too powerful, they're too strong, they're too tanky. Actually, maybe if I just say this out loud and more people start doing it, we'll get rid of it. I don't know if it's intentional or if it's a bug, but when you have Flame Wisp, the healing actually procs based on the amount of people that you're burning. So if you run into a crowd and you hit like a Flame Repulsion on 6 people, you're technically getting 6 Flame Wisp procs. At least that's from my understanding. I don't know if it's changed since I played the game. But yeah, that's why those people are so tanky. If we all abuse that and we all complain, we gut it into... Like, if you have a team that's actually relatively organized and they're, like, cycling their Sacred Fields, you have to kill them, like, 9 times over. You have to deplete, like, 1,000 bars before you actually kill somebody. Sacred Field is just way too strong, man. The Corrupted variant is... It's nuts, bro. Nerf the reduction massively. And ganking actually is a lot of fun. People will stand in there with a dulling potion and you can't kill them. But otherwise... Just have fun on the game, man. I'm having a lot of fun just and, you know, I hope you guys too. Let's just enjoy Deep Woken. For once, let's not hate. Let's just, I don't know. It's pretty miserable. Enjoy the game. Have some fun. Time for hating.
All right, so there's my proof. He's not even a hater. He just can't pick a side. And he might say, well, I'm neutral. You have to see both sides. You can see both sides. But you want to know why in English class they made us pick a side? Even if you do slightly agree, you can look at the other side both, but you have to have a side. Otherwise, your opinion means nothing. That's like say like we're voting, right? You have to pick a side. Otherwise, your vote doesn't matter. Because then it just sits there and does nothing, right? It's kind of the same reason they made us do English arguments that way. They forced us to pick a side. So DanVr is not even a hater. He can't pick a side. He's indecisive. And Deep Woken's in the worst state it's ever been, which is my side. I think Deep Woken's in the worst state it's ever been. I don't think it's good right now. I'm not gonna say that it's great because it's not. Ganking's bad, and the fact that you said Ganking's the only reason we have to play deep at this point shows how bad of a state the game is in, and you still say that it's good every 5 seconds and contradict yourself. And this is just one example, as I said. So yeah, DanVr, please pick a side, and if you watch this, which you probably are, go take 8th grade English again, I guess. Like and subscribe, that's peace.
It's Chaserzo, mother trucker. It's Chaserzo, snitch. Let's get some Robux tonight.